Alright, and welcome to my second tutorial on hard cutting, but I'm going to try and make this one a little bit more detailed. First of all, we're going to pull up our picture, and most everyone who knows me knows I have a little fetish with Candace. She's just so pretty. But we're going to go ahead and open our canvas, and most people have these tools that we're going to be using today if they use version of Photoshop CS3 and up. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to our lasso tool, and we're going to click on our magnetic lasso. So hover over that lasso tool and right click to your magnetic. Now, this is going to be just a little bit rough at the very beginning because, well, we'll fix that up in just a few minutes. So we're going to start just cutting her out, making sure that it connects to every area of her. We'll go around the ear, over the head, and again, it's probably not going to be perfect, especially down here at the bottom. We'll fix that in just a second. We'll close it up, and then you see you've got your little snake lines around it. What we're going to do is we're going to come down to our quick selection tool. With our quick selection tool, that'll allow us to adjust anything that we truly need to adjust. We're going to make sure that it's up here. You're going to have it clicked on the minus sign, and then you're going to make it about, we'll say, 17 pixels. As you can see, it shows you my brush size is about 17 pixels. Now I can go up and down depending on where I'm going to be using it. If it's a larger area, then you can go bigger. If it's a smaller area, then of course you're going to have to go just a tad bit smaller. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move things around just a little bit. With the negative sign toggled, we're going to kind of brush out. We're going to hit shift, and you see it changes it to a plus sign. We're going to hit shift, and we're just going to move some stuff just a little bit so we can grab a little more of the hair. And then we're going to come down to the bottom and continue to hit shift and just kind of make sure it goes all the way to the bottom of the screen. Pretty much we're done with selection tool. Up here in your bar, you're going to see refine edges. We're going to go ahead and click that. And what it's going to do, it's going to bring you up a new palette. Basically, if it's going to bring you up, I think, to the on white, which is perfectly fine. I like to go on black because it'll give me more of an in-depth feature about what's going on around it. And here we're going to adjust what we need to adjust. I want to make her have her hair smooth, but not too smooth, so we'll bring that up to probably about a 7. We're not going to feather it because the feathering will just, well, I'll show you. Feathering will just kind of make it blurry on the edges, and we really don't want that if we're doing a hard cut. Now you can bring up and down the contrast, and pretty much if we start at 0, you see the contrast isn't that well around the edges. So we'll bring it down, and we're going to harden it, basically. And as we continue to go, I think I'm going to keep it at 17. Now here on shift edges, you can shift the edges downward and make it come in a little bit more, or you can even go out more. But we're just going to keep it probably at a -10. Once we do that, we're going to make sure that our output is not on selection, not on new layer. We're going to do new layer with layer mask. And a layer mask is an awesome feature that I'll go into a little more detail about how it works. So we're going to click on the new layer with mask. After you do that, you can either remember your settings or you don't have to. It depends on how often you do hard cutting and depending on how often you use the same adjustment features that you need. So we're going to go, oh look, she's cut out. Pretty much you've taken her out of the area and it's added a new layer with the layer mask. Now with the layer mask, it tends to not put the background in because you've just pretty much cut her out of it. So we're going to add a black background, and you can do that by clicking on the new layer and moving it underneath the one you just made. And of course you see that she's there, she's nice, she's pretty, but we still have some areas up here that are white and some areas that need to be fixed. So we're going to go ahead and click on that area, the black and white portion of that layer, and we're going to grab our paint tool. Now our paint tool is, of course, something we all use as a graphic designer or even just making something simple. Oops, didn't want to do that. Now I have to go over here and switch so that my black is my predominant color. And as I do that, I can come around and I can just kind of fix the areas that are too bumpy or too rigid. And out of spot. Now I can remove that black back area and even, well, let's put her on a new canvas. We're going to make an image that's 500 by 200. That's the normal size of a custom signature. Now I'm going to keep my resolution at 72%. I normally only go to 100% resolution when I'm working in doing web design. And we're going to click OK. It'll open up that new palette. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pull down my new layer. And I'm going to click on my move tool right up here. As you can see, it brings down that layer, and we'll open it up just a little bit so we can see corners. And then I'm going to take Candace and I'm going to say, okay, I want to move her, so let's move her. So we're just going to click her, hold down your left button, and drag her into the new palette. As you can tell, she's much too big to fit on our canvas. So the easiest way to bring her down to the size we want is to move over the outer box of how big it is, and you'll see the two arrows come up, your left and your right. Click on that and you're good to go. What you can do is you can come up here to the width and the height, and you're going to see a link in between those. What's going to happen is you're going to click on that link, and whatever you do from here on out with these two numbers will bring down them the exact same amount. So we're just going to bring this down. Okay, we're going to keep going, keep going. See, there we go. She's a little bit, she's right in the middle, and she's not taking up the whole thing, but she's still not doing. So we're going to hit enter, and that will leave her where she is at the size she is. Now we can move her around and place her where we want, or we can do whatever. And from here, you can add your background, do your blending and everything like that. But that is how I hard cut.